Good morning all. Today we are going to discuss the requirements of highway pavement. This is a topic in module 2. So first we will see what is a road pavement. So road pavement is a layered structure which is mainly supported by the subgrade soil to form the carriageway. So through the carriageway the vehicles are passing. The basic function of the road pavement is to distribute the wheel load to a wider area below the soil subgrade in order to reduce the intensity of the stress. So next function of the road pavement is to prevent the subgrade soil from the adverse action of withering. And the last function is to provide a smooth riding surface. Now we will see the major requirements of highway. So the requirements of highway are mainly classified into two: functional requirements and structural requirements. Functional requirements include: first one, the surface should be firm and does not yield. Second one, it should give a good riding quality. Third one, the surface should not be slippery. Fourth one, the surface should reduce the vehicle operating cost because the surface should have an even smooth surface. So next is the structural requirements. So coming to the structural point of view, the first point is the pavement should withstand the heavy load and the repeated application due to the moving traffic. And the structural action or the structural design is mainly carried out based on the traffic volume, type of soil, drainage, climatic condition and other environmental factors. So the lowest layer of the road surface is the subgrade soil. It should be properly compacted to meet the structural requirements. So next is the sufficient thickness. There are different layers for the pavement. For example, above the subgrade soil you have the subbase course. Above the subbase course you are having base course. In some cases a binder course will be provided, and above the binder course you are having the topmost layer, that is the surface course. So each layer should have sufficient thickness to distribute the load. So thickness of the layers are calculated using some formulas that we will be discussing later. And the last one is it should have long life with minimum maintenance cost. And the other requirements of the road pavement are: it should not develop corrugation, it should provide good visibility at the night, that is, it should not cause glare in the sun. It should be durable and no effect from the rainy season. And last one is it should not produce noise while the vehicle is moving on the road pavement. So next we will see the different type of pavement. So these are the different type of pavement: flexible, rigid, semi-rigid and the interlocking cement concrete block pavement. So first one is the flexible pavement. So here you can see the different layers of the flexible pavement. The top layer is the surface course. Below the surface course you have base course. In certain cases between these two layers you will be having the binder course. And below the base course is the subbase course, and the lowest layer is the soil, that is the subgrade soil on which the pavement construction is done. So this type of pavement have low or negligible flexural strength, and it is mainly made up of asphaltic or bituminous material. So here you can see the materials used in this different course. Surface course is mainly bituminous course. Below that you are having binder course in certain cases. Binder course is mainly dense bituminous macadam, and the base course is sometimes made up of wet mix macadam, or in certain cases you'll be having water bound macadam. And the lowest layer is the GSB granular subbase layer, and below the subbase course you are having the subgrade soil. So now we will see in detail the different type of layers on the flexible pavement. So the first coat, that is the first layer of the flexible pavement, that is the topmost layer, is the surface course. So this is in direct contact with the vehicular surface. Its function is to provide smooth, strong, abrasion resistant and reasonably impervious course, because it is in direct contact with the tire. It has to resist the imposed wheel load and transmit them directly to the lower layers. And the material used in this type of course are usually granular, bituminous or cement concrete, depending upon the nature of construction. Below the surface course you are having the binder course. This is a layer provided with bulk of asphalt concrete. Its main purpose is to distribute the load to the base course. The binder course generally consists of aggregate having less asphalt and does not require quality as high as the surface course. So replacing a part of the surface course by the binder course result in a more economical design. So below the surface course is the below the base binder course is the subbase course or the base course. So the base course, in certain cases base courses are provided. So the base course, it is a layer below the binder course, and its function is to distribute the stress directly to the lower layers. It consists of granular or bituminous material and act as a structural part of the pavement. So why it is called as a structural part of the pavement? Because it is the most important layer which transfer the stresses developed due to the traffic impact from the wearing course. So it provides the required foundation stiffness and the structural strength. So below the base course is the subbase course. So you can see in the figure, the top layer is the surface course, second layer is binder course, and below the binder course you are having a base course, and below the base course is the subbase course. So the subbase course. So subbase course is a layer which is below the base course. It provides additional help to the courses above it in distributing the load. It also helps in preventing the soil grain from intruding into the base course, and it also counteracts the frost action. It mainly consists of stabilized soil or soil aggregate mix, which facilitate the drainage of free water from the pavement. So a sub-base course is not always needed or used. For example, if a pavement is constructed over a high quality stiff subgrade, then in that case sub-base course is an additional feature offered which is not required. So in such cases you can avoid the sub-base course. And the lowest layer is the subgrade soil. It is the compacted natural soil immediately below the pavement layers which act as the foundation. So it is prepared to receive all the stresses from the upper layers. And it should have the optimum moisture content or the optimum water content. So the subgrade bear the entire load of the pavement along with the service load. So now between these 4 layers you are having 5 layers. There is surface course, binder course is an optional, base course, sub-base and the compacted subgrade. So between these layers coating are provided. So first coating we are providing is the seat coat that is provided on the top of the surface layer. So seal coat is a thin surface treatment used as waterproof and it provides skid resistance. Next is the tack coat. It is a very light application of asphalt, usually asphalt emulsion, which is diluted with water. It provides proper bonding between the 2 layers of the binder course and must be thin and uniformly cover the entire surface. So the tack coat is provided between the surface course and the binder course. So this is a very important question. And the last coat provided is prime coat. Prime coat is an application of low viscous cutback bituminous surface. It provides bonding between the layers. That is, the tack coat is provided between, prime coat is provided between the binder and the base course. So prime coat penetrate into the layer below and plugs in the void and form a watertight surface. So water cannot come out from the lower layers to the upper layers. So these 3 coats are very important. You have to study this. So next we will see what is a rigid pavement. So rigid pavement are constructed from cement concrete or reinforced concrete slab. And the very important point is it possesses high flexural rigidity. Construction of the rigid pavement is mainly made from plain cement concrete known as the pavement quality concrete. In rigid pavement, the load is distributed mainly by slab action and the pavement behaves like an elastic plate resting on a viscous medium. It can take flexural stress up to 40 kg per centimeter square. The rigid pavement does not get deformed to shape of the lower surface. So now these are the layers of the rigid pavement. Top layer is a concrete slab and below the top layer you are having base course, sub-base and the subgrade. So this is also a very important question. List the difference between flexible and rigid payment. So rigid payment is having more initial cost compared to the flexible payment. And the next is related with the maintenance. Maintenance cost is more in case of flexible payment. And the life, that is the rigid payment, is assumed to have a 30-year life. And flexible payment have a life cycle of 15 years. And the material used in the flexible payment can be recycled. And in case of rigid payment, it is difficult to recycle the material used for the construction. And rigid payment is more impervious to penetration of water than the flexible payment. And now the load coming, that is the wheel load coming on the top surface, is mainly transmitted to the ground using slab action in rigid payment, and in case of flexible payment, grain to grain load transfer is done. And now the rigid payment have flexural rigidity more than that of the flexible payment. So flexible payment usually have no or very less flexural strength. And now the temperature variation is mainly due to the change in atmospheric condition in flexible payment, and the temperature changes may induce heavy stress in case of the rigid payment. And now the rigid payment, while riding the vehicles at night, there is good visibility compared to the flexible payment. So flexible payment, because its color is black, the visibility is very poor. And now the construction stage. Construction can be done by stages in flexible payment, and in rigid payment it is not possible to construct it in stages. So these are the 10 difference. You have to by heart all the 10 difference.